Chris, in Wisconsin, that was my 4 hour presentation. I had to scale it back some a little bit, but you sat through it. So what were your takeaways from that thing? I never even got a chance to even ask you.
Wow. Can you hear me first off?
I can.
Okay. What did I take away from that? Well, that you are remarkably passionate and knowledgeable about what you speak, and you are not at all afraid to bring your personal experiences into that, which are very powerful statements about you and what you've been through. Um, and that experience that you had in your that personal experience that you have just gives so much weight to what you can speak about. Just to give you an idea, I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic, and I had the opportunity to meet another recovering addict and alcoholic, and it turns out that she was an addiction counselor. And she asked me what I thought about that. And I said, well, you have so much more credibility now because you know exactly what we're going through. And you have that same experience. And when you speak, it's not only your background, but your heart that comes through on that.
Oh, I'm just thinking, man, I've never, it's always hard for me to ask people what they think about what we're doing with this, but
Well, I didn't know you were putting me on the hot seat tonight.
yeah, well, you're one of the only people probably on this screen who has actually heard the 4 hour, and that was even scaled back a little bit,
Yeah.
compared to the workshop that I do as well. But
I wouldn't have missed that for the world because you know my history, and I've sent you the note that I wrote that I read every year on the day that I wrote that and look at that and see how close I was to making a permanent decision. And meeting you and knowing what you'd been through and just you helping me through that, it's, your experiences, I mean, gives you so much credibility.
and I hear that from people a lot about how, man, like a lot of this stuff will be like, hey, I don't understand how you can get up there and talk about, punching holes in the walls or crying in your shower, Kenny. But, I can tell you, I sit across from Helen during the interview panels in Chesterfield. And 2 hours before that, I was in my shower and could barely even get myself down the road to get to the interview panel, and
Yep.
found myself literally crying in my car trying to make it to do interviews with her, and she never could tell. My whole point to that is I want people to understand that no matter what you have on your heart or what has happened to you, if you just speak it and lean into it, it just gets better, and you feel better, and you start to be the real you. The real me wasn't around 2013 until 2020. Some of me was, but it's exhausting to sit beside a person like Helen and to feel so just defeated, but to fake her out so beautifully. And I took pride in that. So I guess what I'm trying to say to Chris is a lot of people ask me, how do you get up here and talk about such sometimes violent things like punching walls and punching weed eaters and hitting steering wheels? Because I want you to say it too. Because a lot of us won't do that. We'll talk about, I'm depressed, I have anxiety. We won't dare talk about that we've punched holes in the wall. We've cursed our mothers out. We've cursed God. We've punched things and yelled and screamed and been in the shower crying. And if you say that, yeah, it brings some legit to you. But I'm telling you, it's freeing for people who do it. So
One of the other things that I noticed is that, I mean, you ask direct questions and things like that, but you also, by how you present things, you don't let people off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
If they need help, they're going to go out and get it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And it's such a nondescript way that you do it, but when you get the hook in them, you don't let them off it.
And I think that comes because there was a couple times where a couple people almost had a hook in me, and I wish they would have. I say all the time, I wish I would have let them. And I want that hook in that person because I remember so many nights thinking to myself, I just wish I would let my guard down with somebody and let this come off of my shoulder. So that's why I'm so kind of almost too much overboard. So thank
No,
you, Chris.
no,
Yeah, we'll
no.
we'll move